This is the Chester County Real Estate Podcast, bringing you the info you need to make your next move a great one. This show is brought to you by RE/MAX Ace Realty. For show notes and links, go to acerealtypa.com/podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Chester County Real Estate Podcast. This is a show that gives you the information you need to make your next move a great one. I'm your host, Sean, and today I'm sitting down with Derek from HousewashPA, and we're going to be talking about a couple things that sellers can do to boost their curb appeal. Anyway, hey Derek, thanks for coming, man.
Thanks for having me, Sean.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do and how long you've been doing HousewashPA.
Okay, so I've been power washing for over 10 years now. I'm an owner-operator. I do everything from roof cleaning, stucco cleaning, paver sealing, anything that deals with exterior cleaning.
Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people, when they're looking to sell, obviously, you've heard this before, curb appeal is very important. When people are looking to buy a house, they want to drive by it. And also, it's got to look great in the photos, right?
Definitely. So one of the things that a lot of people hire me for is roof cleaning. So you've probably seen those black streaks on roofs. Yeah. As technology's progressed, more and more realtors are using drone photos. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times you'll see those black streaks either in the front of the house or on the back of the house. I'm able to get them out for the homeowner and for the realtor for those pictures.
Yeah. So I've seen them before, and it doesn't always correlate with an ill-maintained house. Like sometimes everything else, the yard looks great, the siding might not even be that dirty, but then you get those streaks on the house. What exactly causes that? So
that's a form of an algae that gets on your roof. It embeds itself into the limestone, and then it's just going to multiply. It usually starts happening around year 10 to 15.
Okay.
You can get shingles now that have kind of an algae side in them, but I've even seen them fail. So if you're around that 10 to 15 year mark, you're looking to put your house on the market, you have those stains, it would definitely be a good time to have that clean. And that's pretty much going to last you then for the rest of the life cycle of the roof.
Now, there's products I can get from Home Depot that say, that you attach them to your hose and stuff
right.
like that. What's the difference between like a house wash or like a soft wash and some of the products that homeowners could pick up?
Okay, the biggest thing with some of the stuff at Home Depot that you can buy to clean your roof, it's more of an enzyme that's doing the roof cleaning. You have to leave it up there for 6 months. It's not guaranteed to work. It's not a commercial grade type of product to really tackle that situation.
Okay. What about like a power washer? Because there's a lot of like power washing companies out there. They'll do your sidewalk, your siding,
right.
your gutters, your whatever. Do they do what? Do they do roofs or?
So not everyone does roofs. I've seen horror stories where guys will use actual pressure washers to clean roofs. It's going to knock all the granulars off your roof and basically destroy the lifespan of your roof. Mm-hmm. So you have to use the proper chemicals, the proper surfactants, and then most importantly, you want to make sure that you're getting your roof neutralized. Everything that I do follows the Asphalt Roofing Manufacturers Association guidelines to clean the roof. So your asphalt roofing companies know that this is an issue, and they provide documentation on how to properly clean the roof.
Mm-hmm. What about metal roofs or flat roofs or stuff like that, like beyond the standard?
Okay, so that's a good question. A lot of times now we're seeing metal roofs put on houses or as an accent for a front porch. What I can do with metal roofs is you're starting to see some oxidation occur in the metal roof where maybe it started out as like a real nice deep green color and it went to a faded green color. That is something else that I can do to restore that original color back that's going to last for many years. It's basically sun damage. It's oxidation.
Yeah.
So you could get algae on that as well and lichen, but more and more we're seeing actual fading of the metal roof.
What's the difference between algae and lichen? Because lichen, I mean, you can see it's like a growth, right?
Yeah, it's just kind of like a an older form of the algae.
Mm-hmm.
That it's going to be more blotchy, thicker, that sort of thing.
If there's actually lichen growing on the roof, can you clean that off, or is that at that point you got to either scrape it off or replace the roof?
So you can definitely clean it off. I like to tell homeowners that I come across that are looking to put their house on the market, I like at least 30 days prior to pictures to have it clean. We do need some time for the lichen to fall off through natural raining, through the sun kind of drying it out. So it definitely can be removed. We like to not put any brushes on it to actually, again, mess up the granulars. But, the roof does not need replaced at that point.
Okay. Interesting. What is, have you seen roofs that were pretty torn up from power washers or pressure washers or something?
I have. There's a circular disc that's called a surface cleaner. And I've seen guys actually take the surface cleaner up onto the roof and literally apply the pressure like you would with a concrete sidewalk and just completely destroy homeowners' roof. So that's pretty horrific.
So when is a good time to use those discs? Because I've seen them. They're like attachments for power washers and stuff. Is that what they're for? Concrete?
Yeah,
sidewalks?
they're for concrete. Really, I use the term pressure washing, but that's only because homeowners don't fully know the term soft washing. Soft washing is really what you want to look for. It's using low PSI, typically around 100 PSI. Your garden hose is around 30 to 40 PSI. So you can put your hand behind the actual gun. It's not going to damage you. And in terms of when should you use a pressure washer, really it's just on concrete, and you want to make sure that concrete was poured correctly and it can handle the actual PSI. At that point, I still only like to go 1,500 PSI. A lot of times you'll see Home Depot and Lowe's will advertise a 3,500 PSI pressure washer. Guys in the industry care more about gallons per minute as opposed to PSI. So, for instance, I run a machine that puts out 15 gallons a minute. The largest machine at Home Depot is 3.5 gallons a minute, but it's 4,000 PSI. I'm only at 100 PSI. So I'm letting the water and the volume of water in the soaps do the work versus high pressure.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you've seen happen? Like have you seen damage from people doing a poor power washing job?
Sure. A lot of times you'll see stripes going over top of the siding. You'll see all the lines. They basically disturb the oxidation, which is very costly to fix, to purchase the chemicals to fix that. A lot of the bigger issues I'm seeing now are guys hiring workers and giving them 1 or 2 days of training and then sending them out here, causing all sorts of damage, whether they're using high pressure or chemicals. They don't understand the correct dilution ratio. They're not neutralizing their soaps when they're done. So it's very problematic. Power washing got very popular on YouTube with a bunch of clickbait videos. So you'll see videos like make $1,000 a day power washing. That started getting a younger generation kind of into it. And now that's what you're seeing. Everybody used to carry around in Chester County. Everybody that had a truck had a trailer and a lawnmower. Now everybody with a truck has a Home Depot power washer. Yeah. So that's kind of the issue that's going on that I see.
You think these people should stick to just carpet cleaning and
yeah, definitely grub removal.
Because that was like the old thing where it was like, grab a carpet cleaner, go rent it for the day, go hit a couple houses, make $1,000, right, and stuff like that.
So you have guys that have insurance. So there's your basic insurance, and then there's insurance that has care, custody, and control. Basic insurance is not going to cover somebody ruining the side of your house. You would actually have to enter into a civil lawsuit with them. Care, custody, and control is where if that person has that insurance, they perform poor craftsmanship on your house, the insurance company is going to cover it. Most people do not have that.
Yeah, I can imagine. Because it seems like I feel like there's probably a perception that's easy to get into. Like you said, you could
Low
literally
barrier, yeah.
just rent the equipment for the day
Yes.
to come by and do it. And it doesn't seem that difficult. It doesn't seem like it seems like anyone could just grab the wand and hold it up against the house and power
Correct.
wash it.
There's a low barrier to entry. Then you'll have guys that are climbing up 30, 40 feet with a ladder trying to pressure wash. Everything I do is from the ground. I even clean the majority of my roofs from the ground. Occasionally I have to stand on an A-frame ladder. But, I'm not dragging a ladder around your house, that sort of thing. I'm not putting not putting myself in danger or the homeowner, using ladders and that sort of thing.
So you mentioned the roof cleaning, which I love because nothing says old fixer-upper than walking up to a house and there's streaks on the roof.
Right.
And some people deal with that, some people don't. But you also handle the siding, which, like you said, like a lot of times you'll get the pressure washer and you got someone on the ladder because you can't really do it from the ground when you're right up against it. And then also, what about like gutters and stuff like that too?
So exterior gutters, they're using cheaper paint now on the exteriors of the gutters where you're getting like black vertical zebra stripes. And that can happen as early as 3 months. You could purchase a brand new home, go to settlement, you have those black vertical zebra stripes. So I have some local builders that will contact me to get those zebra stripes out of their gutters for the homeowner. So that's one thing with the exterior gutters. Interior gutter cleaning, I've gotten calls from realtors that the inspector failed the gutters because they were so packed full that the gutters needed cleaned out. Which also lends me to another point about the roof cleaning. There are insurance companies out there now that are not giving you insurance if your roof is covered in moss.
Okay.
So that's starting to become more common where I'm getting calls to clean a roof because the insurance company, the house was purchased, the insurance company will now not cover the house. It needs to be cleaned because it's not allowing the roof to properly drain.
Interesting. So that can actually affect the performance of the roof.
Yeah,
and
it's not just cosmetic. I mean, cosmetics the one thing, but it's also the lifespan of the roof, which is why it's important to get done.
Now, what were you saying before about the rust lines too?
Okay, so a lot of times there was a huge trend a couple years ago to get those large barn stars on the side of the house.
I'm a little basic. I still think they're cool.
I like them too. So you go to sell a house, or you're not selling your house. You have them up.
Yeah.
You use drywall screws, or you didn't use stainless steel screws, and you're going to get those rust stains that come down the vinyl siding. I can get that out as well. Again, not using pressure, using the proper chemicals, then neutralizing the chemicals afterwards.
Okay.
So, that can be a definite eyesore for some people's homes, depending on where it's situated as you enter the house. So rust stains is popular for me to get out.
So I'm going to go here, and it's going to get super geeky for a minute, and bear with us, guys. What are these chemicals? Because I like natural stuff. I try to keep it organic when I can. I try to avoid chemicals and unnecessary stuff like that.
Yep.
I guess a part of me is kind of nervous. Like, I don't know if I want to spray my whole house full of chemicals after I've taken so many steps to reduce the chemicals in my interior cleaning products and stuff.
So basically, I'm taking pool water and I'm applying it to your house in various strengths. So a basic vinyl house wash, I'm going to use about 1% sodium hypochlorite.
Okay.
That's very, very low dose. I'm also using a surfactant to help it cling and stay on the surface. It's not bleach. Bleach is sodium hypochlorite and sodium hydroxide and some other things. So when you see outdoor bleach being sold at Home Depot, it's 6% strength. I'm only putting 1% strength on a vinyl house. Your household bleach that you have under your sink or that you put in your clothing is about 1%.
Okay. So
I have proportioners that can dial down to the certain percentage.
Yeah.
So when you get into stucco, you're looking at about 3% strength. Then when you're getting into a roof, you're looking at about 4% strength. If there's really bad moss, you might go all the way up to 6% strength.
And
So
you can adjust that
I can
adjust
that with a mixing valve. So that's another key thing, is that you don't want to over apply. You will kind of want to find that sweet spot of what's going to actually kill this algae or mold on the side of the house without overdoing it. Then the most important step after that is these chemicals are caustic, so we want to actually neutralize them to bring that back to a neutral base, so then we're not causing any other harm. A lot of times people ask me, when can my dog come out? When can my kids come out? I have 5 kids, 3 cats, and a dog. So it's the same stuff I use at my house.
Yeah.
Once it dries up, it's just going to break down into salt. All right. So those of you that are into gardening know that salt can be detrimental to plants. That's why we neutralize. So the neutralizing is going to take rid of that salt effect.
So what do you mean by neutralizing? Does it mean just rinsing?
No.
Okay.
So it's a 2-part process that I use. The other chemical is called sodium thiosulfate, which actually neutralizes the sodium hypochlorite. So imagine you have a pool. You got a brand new pool built. You're going to tackle putting in the sodium hypochlorite, the liquid chlorine, if you will, into your pool. You put too much in. What are you going to do? You're not going to empty the pool. They sell chemicals to then neutralize that too much chlorine. So that's the same concept that I'm doing with your house.
Gotcha.
So I'm actually going to chemically reverse what I just did. So it's not even there. If I were to just dilute it, it's still going to be there. That would be like draining your pool halfway and then putting water back in.
Right.
That's going to be very time-consuming, unnecessary. You're going to just basically get the sodium thiosulfate. I don't know what they sell it as in the pool world in terms of, I don't know if they call it a neutralizer, whatever they call it. But if you put too much in, you test your water, there's a chemical to, help lower the percentage.
Now, is that like part of the process every time, or does it depend on what you're doing and what the...
So I neutralize every time.
Okay.
I try to help guys across the country, show them the importance of neutralizing every time. But it's not standard practice. I wish it was standard practice.
So the soft wash in general is kind of a 2-step process. Just like when you go to the car wash, apply the soap, rinse it off.
Yes. So I apply, rinse, then I apply a waxing agent which has a neutralizer in it. Okay. So that's kind of that added step that I provide for the homeowners. When it's just a roof, I'm going to use just the sodium thiosulfate. I'm not going to apply like a waxing agent to that. It's not going to have any UV. You don't need UV protection on asphalt shingles.
Now you were talking about how like if the concrete is strong enough. So I'm thinking maybe like a power washer would be good for like a walkway or something like that. But you're saying that even then, it's still good to probably do a soft wash depending on the material and make sure you know what you're doing.
Yeah, so I'm sure you've come across walkways that look chipped. Maybe they use the incorrect salt during the wintertime. It's kind of flaky. You put pressure on that, we're going to cause even more harm. So I can still clean that by soft washing. So that's still going to make it appropriate. It's going to clean it appropriately, and we're not going to provide any further damage to your concrete. If it's poured properly, there's no problems going at it with 3,000 PSI. But you have to have an eye for this. You have to have some experience to get this done.
That's what I'm wondering. I'm like, well, how do you know if it was poured properly until you attack it with the power washer and then you find out the hard way?
You'll know if it's flaking up.
Yeah.
It won't look like it was properly done.
Yeah.
So you can't just say, here's a standing operating procedure. We're going to pressure wash every front concrete entryway. You can't do that. You've got to have an eye for it. And even sometimes I'll just err on the side of caution and soft wash it, because you still have that deep mold and algae that's actually in the concrete. So sometimes you have to pressure wash it and you end up soft washing it at the end because the pressure didn't take it out.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Wow.
you kind of sometimes are doing two steps to that.
What about other stuff like porches, decks? You got the maintenance-free decks, but
Right.
that can build up some marks and some stuff on them too. Do you ever do those?
Correct. So composite decks, you have composite boards, and then more recently over the years, you have your capstock composite, which is a composite deck board wrapped in PVC, and then you have just a PVC board. So a lot of people are going with the capstock PVC because a composite board is still made up of wood fibers. That's part of the composite. So with the capstock PVC or the composite, again, you want to use the special soaps to thoroughly clean that. That's how we get the handrails to, appear very vibrant, again, with the white color.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen my fair share of high pressure being used on composite decks because what you're actually doing is removing part of the surface.
Mm-hmm.
So even with a wood deck, I'm not using pressure.
Mm-hmm.
With a wood deck, I'm using two chemicals, sodium hydroxide, which is a paint stripper, all commercially bought, and then to brighten it, I'm using oxalic acid, and that's going to get it back to that blonde wood tone.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes, you'll see people take a pressure washer to it, splinter the deck.
Yep.
Then what happens, the stain cannot absorb into the wood because the pores aren't open. I had a guy contact me last month. His deck is about 3 months old. He wants to take proper care of his pressure-treated deck. That's fine. I like to wait about 6 to 8 months because there is copper tones in it. You'll see the green copper tones. That's the actual treatment of the wood.
So you mean in like the pressure treated wood, you get that like green?
Yes.
Greenness
We need
on
that to
them.
dry out.
Yeah.
About 8 months later. Then I'm gonna still hit this with a probably a two-step. I'll hit it with the sodium hydroxide. Then I'm gonna hit it with the oxalic acid to open up the pores.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to use about 800 PSI on that to kind of punch some stuff off. But I'm not going to damage those wood fibers.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the key because when you get a new pressure-treated board, it's glazed from the factory where it went through the saw. So the saw's hot. It leaves kind of that almost waxy-looking material.
Okay.
So you still need to really do a two-step process to allow the pigment to actually penetrate into the wood.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea that was even like I never even thought about it. I was
Yeah,
just like,
it's-
oh yeah, you strip all the stain off and you restain it, but
Yeah. And I'll even go as far as actually hand sanding
okay.
because what we'll do is kind of raise that wood grain. And then when you stain it, it really makes it pop.
Okay. Wow.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, these are like the little things like you don't
They're
really
little-
think about when you're
Yeah.
getting that like power wash quote.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, power washing, I kind of feel like it's a marketing term for Home Depot and Lowe's
Right.
to sell a pressure washer or power washer. Down south, they use the term pressure washing.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at Google Trends, it's more of power wash or pressure washer near me.
Mhm.
As you get up to about Maryland and north, it's power washing near
Okay.
me. So it's just kind of weird. Different parts of the country use different terms.
Yeah.
This happens to be kind of the hotbed for power washing in the country because we have all 4 seasons. We're close to the mountains. We're close to the ocean.
Mhm.
And that kind of just creates the perfect storm. The farther west out you go, even as far as Pittsburgh, it drastically starts declining, people needing it done. I mean, you could go to some parts of the country and it doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
It's you're in Arizona and you're just rinsing down a house.
Because it's so dry, it's mainly just
Correct.
dust.
Right.
Whereas we're dealing with the algae,
Correct.
forms of mold or
Yep.
some sort, environmental stuff, things coming off the trees, the leaves in the gutters,
Just
it's
all the
kinda-
population that we have around here. So, yeah, like I said, as you go out to Pittsburgh, it does start
Yeah.
declining the number of people that need it done. Florida's still the kind of the mecca
Mm-hmm.
of power washing, just with all the 55 and older communities, the humidity. They want to keep things looking nice down there. So those people will actually get it done in the 55 and older communities twice a year.
Okay.
Around here, some of my customers want it done every year, every other year. Some can put it off 3 to 5 years. A lot of it depends on location. the way your house is facing. If your north side of your house is the front, you're going to be more inclined to get it done more frequently. If the north side of your house is the back, nobody ever sees it but you're probably less inclined.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of just like getting your car washed. Some people do it every week, and and how and when you do it is going to depend on where you're at in the part of the country. And
sure,
when you get into really some of the more detailing aspects of things, like what detailer on the West Coast does and the detailer on the East Coast does, there's going to be some nuance there because they're dealing with different environments.
Yeah, around here we have road salt, that sort of thing. So you're really dealing with, even the road salt is where you would use some of those chemicals
I was going to say
using to neutralize the salt on your frame. So if you go up into Massachusetts and stuff like that, that's common. A lot of truck drivers, they have products they sell for them to apply to their tractor trailers and stuff to neutralize the salt. So there is a lot of chemistry actually involved with this. It's not a splash and dash type of operation.
You're right. Well, and that's why also you were telling me how your rig is made so you can adjust those different percentages and stuff. And I'm sure, I've never really I've helped maybe power wash a house once. You've washed probably what, a couple thousand?
Yeah, thousands. It feels like.
Yeah. So knowing the different like percentages to apply in what situations and stuff like that kind of expertise is something that I can't necessarily Google. What's best for cleaning my particular house in my particular area.
And you're not going to find the right results either. The first couple results on Google aren't going to give you necessarily the correct answer. So yeah, there's industry paint issues going on now. Sherwin-Williams started putting an interior primer in their exterior paint. So that's causing issues when cleaning, when soft washing. So that's a problem, again, that happens not necessarily around here. It can happen around here, but more of your Victorian-style homes are getting painted. Down south, we have a lot of stucco homes that are getting painted. There's a lot of issues going on with that. So James Hardy fiber cement board, if that's been repainted around here, you're going to want to definitely do some test spots instead of coming out and altering the pigment in your paint job. Yeah.
And you were saying that for some of the siding, like Hardy board siding, this is what's recommended. They have a manufacturer's recommendation on how to clean their siding, right?
Right. And they're also going to, like any other type of warranty, they might give you a 30-year warranty or a lifetime warranty. But when you start reading the fine print, how frequently was it soft washed? Who soft washed it? Was it a reputable company?
Really?
Those sorts of things. I mean, anything to kind of get you out of a warranty claim, they're going to do. So you have to maintain the exterior of your house. I've seen algae, mold actually attack the paint, eat through the paint because it's been untouched for so long. So the same thing could happen to your Hardy board.
Yeah, wow. Well, hey, man, thanks for joining us. What's the best way if someone's interested in having you come out? What's the best way they can contact you?
Best way to contact me is just go to my website, HousewashPA.com. I actually have an instant approval, or not instant approval. I have an instant online quote. You would fill out the same information that I fill out. It's going to give you some different options if you want to add exterior window cleaning to it, roof cleaning, gutter cleaning. And you can just go right on there, fill out the form, and it's going to give you an instant quote right away.
Awesome. Cool. And that's HousewashPA.com. Cool.
Yep.
Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. This has been the Chester County Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by RE/MAX Ace Realty, serving buyers and sellers in the Chester County area. Subscribe for new episodes at acerealtypa.com/podcast. And you can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever podcasts are found.
This episode is brought to you by RE/MAX Ace Realty in Downingtown, PA. Whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, we have a real estate expert for you. Search for homes or contact an agent at acerealtypa.com.